Good morning, folks, from Sean Citizen in the lunatic asylum called Ireland. The Irish Times has written a brilliantly biased propaganda article against all the candidates who are alternatives to the current political establishment. The truth since 1859, I believe they called themselves. Anyhow, it's only 6 days now to the election, and the things are hotting up in a big way. And expect more denigration, expect more of this kind of reporting in the next 6 days, trying to discredit every single anti migrant candidate. So, I'm going to give you a taste of what's happening in the world here rather than continue. I'm not an expert on anything, I'm afraid, but I give you a few little videos which might clarify matters. Okay, talk to you.
Taoiseach Martin, the Swedish Social Democrats hoped that the amnesty for migrants in 2005 would give us pause. The opposite happened. Pull factors increased. The following decade meant a migration wave we've never seen before. This year, one shooting a day, one bombing a week, and areas ruled by criminal gangs and clans caused Bildzeitung to name my country the most dangerous country in Europe. Now, I understand that your government is pushing through a mass amnesty. For how many, no one seems to know. Taoiseach, have you looked at migration prognosis for the future? Ipsos tells us that 1.5 billion people would like to migrate if given the opportunity. The French government estimates that 35 to 40% of those would choose Europe. That's 500 million that would like to go to our continent if given the opportunity. The same as the whole EU population, Taoiseach. Africa's population is set to grow from 1.4 billion today to 4 billion at the end of this century, and there aren't enough jobs. Taoiseach Martin, do you think that mass amnesties for illegal migrants by EU member states is going to alleviate or worsen migration pressure on Europe? Thank you.
Mary Jane's the only girl for me. Touch her, my lover, she means the world to me. Never sweet, never cheat. Oh, set me free from her devil's leaf. Don't give a shit if she never messaged me. Only come equipped with the evergreen. Send your peace with that skunky.
Ireland's Justice Minister Helen McEntee has opened a new scheme that could allow migrants residing in the country to gain full legal status. The amnesty scheme will allow adults who have lived in the country for 4 years or children who have been there for 3 years to apply. There are currently 17,000 undocumented people in Ireland, many who run into problems accessing services and joining the workforce. Well, for more on this, I'm now joined by Ken Murray. Ken, so the government says this is a once-in-a-generation scheme that could benefit thousands. Can you take us through what the criteria is for people to apply?
Well, as you said it there in your introduction, the criteria is pretty straightforward. If you've been living here for 4 years as a single person and 3 years as either a married person with children or with a partner with children, you are entitled to apply. Now, the Minister for Justice, Helen McEntee, said this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for people who are living here but are undocumented but are experiencing difficulties with Irish life. Some migrants have been exploited in the workplace. Some have been bullied, some have run into difficulties with racism, but the problem they face is that they can't go to the police and say, I'm being bullied or I'm being subjected to racist abuse, simply because if they declare their current status, they may find themselves deported. So there's something like 17,000 undocumented immigrants in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, that is, at present, and the Department of Justice has decided they're going to sort this out once and for all, and once the 17,000 or so have achieved legal status, they will then be entitled to apply for citizenship, and the Department of Justice is hopeful that the build-up of numbers who are undocumented will basically decrease and it'll become a more manageable issue in the months and years ahead.
And Ken, will this scheme be able to be taken up by those in direct provision, that much criticised system that asylum seekers in Ireland live within?
Direct provision is a system here in Ireland whereby people who came to Ireland as asylum seekers or seeking refuge were basically put into a form of accommodation where they had a room, 3 meals a day. They were even given pocket money, but it's proven difficult for the Irish civil service to determine whether some people's application for asylum is genuine or not, and as a result some people are in direct provision, in some cases for up to 10 years. Children have been born in direct provision, and the Irish government has been heavily criticised by a number of reports over the fact that they've allowed people to stay in direct provision for so long. So people who are in direct provision will be entitled to apply. Even people with some what might be called minor crimes will be entitled to apply as well, and the hope is that if those who apply from direct provision have their status, if you like, legalised, that will end the direct provision problem that the government has been heavily criticised over the last 10 years or so.
Of course, the 17,000 who are in direct provision and increasing daily will not go anywhere because they have nowhere to go. There are no houses. There's nothing being built, not nearly enough to cope with even our own population, our own indigenous people, let alone the hordes of invading forces from all over the world. So it's all just a kind of a crazy circus which has no end in sight. So that's it, folks, from Sean Citizen. This video has been sponsored by the tens of millions of people who are members of the European far right community. Bye.